Hi everyone, and welcome to a lap guide of the Nordschleife. Now, this is going to be one hell of a long track, so hopefully you guys can follow with me and we'll try and get around in one piece and as fast as we possibly can go. So I'm using balance and performance, and I'm currently got on the racing soft tires. As we start the lap here, this first line just after the start finish line is where we're going to brake, and we're going to brake down into second gear. Going to come in nice and tight into the corner and slowly start to ring out on the power. Now this first section I really like to keep into third gear. I'll shift up to fourth every now and then. Third gear just gives the right amount of torque to get in and out of the corners. So here there's no real markers for it, you're just going to slowly brake down, drop into second gear to come around this corner. Make sure not to spin anywhere. Again, you're just weaving through, you're adjusting the brakes and the throttle to try and get through. Here you're going to brake down to second again because it's a bit of a tighter corner, and you're going to come out onto the straight. Now here you don't have to worry about this jump at the end, you'll only catch a little bit of air and it won't really throw you off. You're just going to lift off the throttle a little bit and turn in early. You're just going to fully accelerate all the way through here. And just try and keep a nice clean line through here, because you can go off at high speeds. Now for this you're just going to lift off and brake a little bit here at the Yokohama tyre sign. You're going to turn in a bit early to try and hit the apex. And then right here at the end of the barrier on the left you're going to just brake down to second gear. Keep it nice and tight coming through here and slowly start to ring out the power again. Now this part can be quite tricky as you're going to be going pretty quickly down this downhill. As you get to the graffiti here, you're going to start braking down and drop into fourth gear for the initial part. You're going to come mount the curb on the left and then slowly start to brake down. Third gear for the first apex and second gear for the second apex. From here you're just going to ring it out and try and get as much speed as you can coming up into the next corner. You're just going to lift off and brake a little bit just to come into the corner, just help with the rotation. Here just after the graffiti you're going to start braking down into second gear. This next part here at the sign on the left, you're going to start braking down into second gear and try to come in towards the apex. This part it's quite deceptive because you think it's quite a harsh corner, but you can actually carry a lot of speed coming through here, just lifting off a little bit. Next corner is a miss hit miss, so you're going to start braking at this white part of the barrier on the left. You're going to miss the first apex. You're going to try and hit the second apex and then miss the third apex. Coming down here again, the white parts of the barrier on the left, you're going to start braking down to third for the first apex, and then for the second apex, second gear. You're going to slowly accelerate out of here as well. Coming into this corner, just at the slip road there on the right, you're going to start braking down, and you're going to brake down into second gear. Or you can keep it in third depending on what your speed is. So here at the end of the curve on the left you're going to brake down to second gear as well because it's going to be an uphill. You're going to carry as much speed as you can coming up here. Just here at the Yokohama tyre sign on the right you're going to start braking again. And this corner coming up is going to be positively cambered and it's going to be on an uphill, so you're going to drop down to second gear to try and get as much power as you can coming up here. And here you're just going to try and keep it nice and clean, make sure that you don't go off or touch any of the pieces of grass on either side, or else you will pretty much ruin your lap or ruin your race depending on what you're going to be doing. before this first major turn here is coming up, you're going to brake about halfway through this curve here on the right. You're going to drop down to 4th gear and then start accelerating again immediately. For the second major corner, you're also just going to lift a little bit and turn in. And here, just before the curve on the left, you're going to start braking down to 2nd gear. And we're going to start making our way to the next corner. Here at the tree on the left, you're going to brake down into 2nd gear and try and keep it between 80 and 100 kilometers per hour. You have to try and modulate your accelerator just so that you don't go out of it. This next part of the circuit I mainly take in 3rd. I'll shift up to 4th if I need to, but 3rd is pretty much the gear that I'll try and stick in. Coming up to this next corner, just here before the curve on the right, you're going to brake down into 3rd gear. And as I said, you're pretty much going to stick with 3rd gear throughout the majority of this part of the circuit, with minimal braking and just modulating the throttle. And here it's a major brake point here on the right, and you're going to brake down to 3rd gear. And just here after the curve on the left, you're going to brake as well, but keep it in 3rd gear. Here, just before the Yokohama sign, you're also going to brake down and keep it in 3rd gear. Right at the end of the curve on the left, you're going to brake, and you can either keep it in 3rd or you can drop down to 2nd, depending on what your speed is. Before this graffiti here, you're going to drop down to 2nd gear as we come up to a bit of a sharper corner. This part of the circuit's quite fun because you're going to be weaving quite a bit. At the end of this drop here, as soon as you hit the ground, that's when you start braking again. For this next part of the circuit, I don't think I actually brake at all. You can kind of keep it going flat out. If not, you can lift off just a little bit, but there's no need for any brakes. This part here with the flag mark on the right, you're going to start braking down to 4th gear for the first apex. As you come up to the next corner, you're going to drop down into 3rd gear, right here at the red part of the barrier on the left. This is a bit of a tricky corner, but I like to try and keep it as tight as possible, or else it unsettles the car. Here it's a slight braking coming in, keep it in 3rd gear if you want to carry as much speed as you can going onto the main straight, or else you'll be at quite a disadvantage. As you get to the sign here on the left, this is where you're going to start braking. You're going to slowly come down the gears. And here, when you see the camera stand on the left, that's when you're going to do your final bit of braking. You can cut across a little bit on the left, and you can drop down to 2nd gear, coming in for the final set of corners, and you're going to keep it in 2nd gear. Here, at the end of the grass on the left, you're going to brake slightly, but keep it in 2nd gear, and try and come as close to the wall as possible. And that is a lap on the racing soft tyres, as I said before, with balance and performance. It's really not a bad lap. And here you can see me on the racing medium tyres. I've already got one lap in, so you can see the tyre wear there on the bottom left. I still managed to put in a time that was quite close to my soft tyre time. And again on the very next lap with some more tyre wear, I managed to stay pretty consistent, even with a little mistake here at the end. As for tyres, the softs do wear quite a lot from the start of the lap to the end of the lap. The mediums are pretty good for this race coming up, and the hards are actually really good as well, but based on what your actual fuel usage is going to be, I recommend using the medium tyres. And as for fuel, you'll get about 3.5 to 4 laps of fuel from a full tank of gas, and you must use tyres that match that similar amount of depletion.